Welcome to Rage You Nerds. I'm Mr. Cack, and Al is joining me as we continue to be so frustrated and confused by Peacock's original, Mrs. Davis. If you have any theories that you would like to discuss with us or drop for us before we get to the end of this Mrs. Davis road, please put them in the comments below. Also, we encourage you to like this video and subscribe. In fact, it may be the only way to find the Holy Grail. I mean, we've tried other things and we haven't found it, but have you tried liking this video and subscribing to the channel? Have ya? Alright, you're wonderful, beautiful, have a good one, enjoy the video, and we'll see you next time! On our last adventure 2 weeks ago, episodes 6 and 7 are the ones that have been most recently played. Episode 8, the final episode of the series, is coming up this Thursday. You can do a rundown, you can do whatever you want. I am just so excited to hear your thoughts, because episodes 6 and 7, unintentionally, very thematically linked. You know, we have the notion of a whale hunt, and that's the big tie-through for episode 6 and 7. But how are you feeling about episode 6 and 7 and Mrs. Davis, the series, at this time?
Okay, so at this time, I've really loved Miss Davis a whole lot. I just started watching it on a whim just to see what it's like, and I was like, oh my god, we've got to do this for the stream. Like, this is wild. It's comical, it's a fun ride. I highly recommend it to anybody that's listening and watching. For episodes 6 and 7, oh good lord, there's so much that happened there. And it's just back to back to back of things that happen. I mean, we're going on a whale hunt. We're trying to we've tried to break into her mom's security place. Let's see. We've had several encounters with quotation marks Jesus. And then Mary. There's so many different points to this show that it's hard to keep up sometimes with what's happening, but they all tie together, which is quite weird. And then we've got the AI who has told them about their dad, and then is the dad dead? What is all the references to the animals we're being told about or shown about? It's just a wild ride, which is fun, that we haven't had in a long time in a TV show, I feel.
So, and take this for what it is. I am not a smart person at all. I don't claim to be. I don't pretend to be. I'm streetwise, like Aladdin. What I am is curious. So I went to Reddit after last week's episode, where we have our whale hunt, where they actually board a ship and they go and find their whale out there, and we see Lizzie get lubed up and thrown into the mouth of a giant whale. There's another plot that's happening opposite of the whale hunt, and that is our boys at the Resistance going through some stuff. So we have the Resistance, which is a bunch of dudes, and you know, with this show, and because if you're someone that knows Damien Lindelof and what he's done before with both The Leftovers and Lost, you are probably more hyper aware that what you're seeing, there's probably layers to it, and there's probably subtext, and you may not fully understand what you're seeing to the degree that maybe they're trying to hint at you. They refer to it as a campus, and it's a hippo meat canning factory. Therefore, they are at hippocampus. Hippocampus is a part of the brain, and it seems like if you tie that with now the elephant from episode 6, which is a creature that is most known with the saying, an elephant never forgets, there are a lot of people starting to go onto the bandwagon of, because of how absurd this all is this Lizzie or Wiley or someone Is this someone processing something that's happening in their mind? So to go back to the whole notion, we talked about it last time we talked about this, of maybe Lizzie's in a coma. Maybe she didn't survive something. Maybe she didn't survive the shot to the liver. Maybe she's playing something out. What people have thrown out there, though, is when all of this stuff kind of started to really spin off the rails, which isn't true. There's a lot of absurdity that's happened from the past looking at it. But then do we trust the whatever. Anyways, when Lizzie goes to Wiley while he is preparing to ride the bull and she prays up, someone said, well, what if a piece of the ceiling or something fell down, knocked her out? What if she got knocked unconscious in that moment? So it coincides with her going to the restaurant and seeing Jesus. Now, I don't like this theory all that much because fundamentally, I think it goes against the whole notion of, well, if it's Lizzie's memory, then we should never not be by Lizzie's side, and we also get the whole Wiley of this. And inversely, if it was Wiley's memory, then we shouldn't be seeing stuff when Wiley's not there. So I don't think we're in a coma. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up being in a coma. I don't think we're in a coma. But there's also the whole, what is the Holy Grail? The Holy Grail is the mutated, or is the desecrated scalp of, quotation marks, Jesus Christ. So another head thing. When people have died, their head, we've seen one of the very first things we saw, people getting their heads cut off, someone getting their head ripped off going through a billboard. We've seen someone's head explode. There's a lot of head trauma, a lot of things about memories, and it's just like, maybe there is something to that, but what? What is it, and what are we missing, and why have we still not heard Mrs. Davis' voice? There's something to it that once we hear Mrs. Davis' voice, it's going to make everything clear. And I still think, because we haven't seen his wily ass yet, and I think I'm on two bandwagons here when it comes to Lizzie's father. One, I hope he is Mrs. Davis. Two, I would also be acceptable with the answer that he just actually died in that trick. I think that him being dead and it just being straight up, we just need to come to terms with it in the same way that his wife needs to come to terms with it. I think I can actually embrace and accept that if that's what they decide to do with the rug pull of, no, seriously, he's just dead. Okay, like, cool, like that's clever. I appreciate that, because we keep getting all these subversions of like, well, maybe he is still alive. Maybe the ATMs, maybe. But there's something else here, and I just don't know what it is. This what frustrates me about this show. I love it, but there's something that we're missing, and I feel like when this episode comes out on Thursday, I'm going to feel like such a buffoon, because it's going to lay out everything. The magician's going to show us the trick, and we're going to be like, oh shit, how did we miss that? Like, how did we not see that? And I'm going to kick myself for it. Ow. So, in my Reddit adventure, Al, and I would love to hear your thought on this. So, something that stood out to me is that when JQ and Wiley get into their little bro fight in underwear, they then hearken back to Wiley's self-destruct code, which is Jack's last resort. And it's like, okay, why does that sound familiar? And I don't know where your mind went, but when you heard that, did your mind go to anything?
Not at the moment, no. I guess I would really pay attention to it.
All right, and this may be a difference in the type of person we are and the slight age difference between us, because as a white, moody male that was starting my 20s in the mid 2000s, there was a movie called Fight Club. And the narration in that was always Jack's something. I am Jack's, broken heart. I am Jack's whatever. So it's like, oh, they just did a Fight Club thing. Why'd they do a Fight Club thing? And now, if you go to Reddit, this is a very prominent thing, and this one probably will end up being true to some degree. And it'll be true in the extent that they'll never probably outright say it, but I think there's enough trappings there. So, apparently the Resistance, I don't know if you've actually looked at them, Al, But for the most part, it is a bunch of white, our age guys that are rebelling against this female voice. And now, yes, you can moan and groan about a lot of things about this, but there is this notion, and it feels so ironic after spending my weekend having 2 shorts drop on us bitching and moaning about Velma. But the resistance kind of seems like it's a resistance of the old way of, these white guys are no longer feeling the privilege they once had because this damn AI took what made them special and gave it to everyone. And I was like, okay, I can embrace that story of this. That's clever. Okay, gotcha. But a part of me is like, I wish it was more. I wish the resistance was more. But I do think I think that's going to be probably the extent of the resistance. Not for Wiley, even though Wiley is a white male that received a huge inheritance and just lives extravagantly. He was, his biggest concern was a bull. Like, if I was going to be injured by bull in my life, it's because I would have had to hop a cattle rail and go out there and challenge some form of cattle. But he was, getting entered in bull riding contest and, having his parents pay to give him a quicker path into getting a liver transplant just because they didn't want to wait around. So it seems like the resistance might be the resistance of affluence, specifically with white men, as things are changing in the world of still trying to hold on to the Tyler Durden of it all, back when we were kings, when we were the Ed Nortons and Brad Pitts of the world, getting sucked off and beating up Meatloaf down in a basement. The good times. The David Fincher's universe of the world. But yeah, so that's okay. That's interesting. I mean, there does seem to be, but then I started thinking about it even more. And I don't think I've seen a black man on this show that I can remember.
No, the only other
we've seen
is Jesus.
Yeah, and that's Middle Eastern. I assume that's Middle Eastern. We've seen black women. We've seen black women present. I can't honestly recall. The cops in the beginning were white. I think the vast majority of the audience that I remember from the magic shows where Lizzie was a kid, they were white.
Yeah.
I can't think of a moment, and there has to be something to that as well, right? There has to be. This is too much of an intentional. They do things too much intentionally for it not to be intentional. That there is an absence of anything. Yeah. Even moments where they say something slightly incorrect. In other series, you would just write it off as mess up. In this series, it's why did they choose to say it that way? What are they hiding? Why did they do that? I am so fascinated to see what happens when Wiley goes into the exploration thing. Clearly, I don't think they're killing people in there. But what is it? Is it the rapture? Is this people no, I'm being serious.
I know.
Are we currently seeing the people that are holding on or just complicitly living in poopy earth while it's all ended? And if they would just embrace, hey, just go on into the light, go into the pyramid. Are they going to heaven? I don't know. I still don't want Jesus. I still don't want Jay to be Jesus. I still want Jay to be the devil. But I feel like that ship sailed. I think he is, for all intents and purposes, Jesus. And I don't know if I messaged you this. Maybe I did. I got on a rant at one point with someone. But I do think that the whole Jesus story, the whole Jay story in his diner, I think it is going to play into the Schrodinger's cat of it all. He's either Jesus or he's not Jesus, and it just depends on what you want him to be.
Yeah.
If you want to believe that they're literally telling you that Lizzie is going and talking to Jesus in a diner, cool. If you want to say, no, I can't believe it, I can't accept that because of X reason. It's your faith. You don't want it to be that. You think that there's something nefarious going on. You're like me, and you don't trust the fact that he's never actually said his name, and neither did Mary. Neither did his mother. Again, it's always been implications of, oh, I assume you're that. But it's Schrodinger's cat. the thing is dead or alive depending on if you've opened the box.
Yeah.
Jesus is Jesus or he's not. It just depends on what you want to open up and see. So I've given up on that. But there is something to it. I just want to know what it is. I just want to know. And the only thing, Al, the only thing that would make me so damn happy is if we get into this episode, they go 30 minutes, and in the final, 5 minutes, Lizzie's walking up to see the server room of Mrs. Davis. She opens the door, and it's just, everything goes white, and there's just a middle finger that pops up, and it says, fuck you. And then it just ends. It just ends. I'll be like, all right, well, I deserve it.
That's fair, that's fair.
Or I hope it's a magic trick. I hope the end is so absurd, and by the end of it, there is no answers, and it's just Lizzie's dad appearing and going like, ta-da!
I mean, it could be. There's a lot of magic in this whole show, so.
What do you have any theories yourself of what's going to happen as we reach this end point?
For me, usually I have theories, but this show just doesn't. I just can't come up with anything because I just don't know where it's going and where it's going to end. So unfortunately, no, I don't have any theories for this. I'm sure you do, but I'm just ready for Thursday to be here so I can figure out what the hell's going on.
So, I have the Reddit pulled up, and it's not a big Reddit following, so it doesn't have a lot of super thought out things to pick into kind of mine from there. But one of the most recent posts is, has anyone pointed out yet that Mrs. spelling it M-I-S-S-E-S, so spelling out Mrs. Davis is an anagram for misadvises, so that you've been misadvised? To which someone said, nice find. Mrs. Davis also means Mrs. Son of David, who is Jesus. And according to Mary, he'll be gone for good if the Grail is destroyed. Neither she nor Simone will see him again. So we're going to miss the Son of David. And some of that just feels like a kind of a bit of a stretch. But who knows, man? Who actually knows? It's series like this that I both love and hate, because I will work myself up into the deeper, it has to be this. Like I did it with Lost.
Yeah.
It has to be this. And then it'll get to the end, it's like, there's other people on the island. It's like, well, fuck, man. All right, I guess that's fine. There's a timey-wimey thing they're basically in the Bermuda Triangle. Cool, whatever. Let's see. Has it ever been No. Electric Avenue. That was another thing. So this last episode ended with Lizzie washing up, or Simone, however you want to call her. Lizzie, I like to say Lizzie, because Lizzie just rolls off the tongue better for me. Lizzie washing up on shore, and it's her real name, I assume. We don't know. Elizabeth. She washes up on shore, and all of the people in this Mediterranean beach start singing Electric Avenue. And I sat there for so long and tried to look at what are the lyrics of Electric Avenue. Are there any Electric Avenues located anywhere outside of the one that this song is referencing, which is which is a British street? Like, is there anything more significant to it that would help us figure this out? I don't know. What did you think of we're gonna rock onto the Electric Avenue? I just like when they said, "Oh God," they sound like zombies.
I mean, it has to do with something with Miss Davis, obviously, because they're all wearing earpieces. And I don't. Maybe in this next episode, when we get back to that, at the beginning of the episode, it's going to be a nod to the dad, because. Was that song played before? Like when they went on Halloween?
That's another thing that I wanted to sit down. I thought Reddit would help me out there, but I didn't find anything. I feel like I need to go back and watch a couple episodes before Thursday, because that was my next thought was, this song had to play at another point, right? Because like everything is always an allusion to something that Lizzie's lived through or experienced. Because I think Mrs. Davis is your dad. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. There's so much shit I'm trying to process now. I don't remember this stuff, and that's what Damon Lindelof pays off, is like, we should have been paying attention to everything. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying. I mean, Damon Lindelof is. I mean, he has done Prometheus. He's done Lost, The Watchmen. You said The Leftovers. I haven't seen that one yet, which I need to watch.
Really
apparently,
need to, yeah.
The movie The Hunt, which it has the main character of
Betty Gilpin's, yes. She God, it's the one where
she's the main character.
Where it's like the conservatives are being hunted by the super liberal people.
Yeah. He did that. So I mean, he knows what he's doing. And it's, I don't know. Most of his stuff is this way though, where you need to pay attention to everything to be able to figure out what's going to happen in the end. Which I did not realize that he did Tomorrowland.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that either.
And Star Trek, the new one.
Oh.
Cowboys and Aliens, World War Z.
I'm not gonna lie, it was dumb, but I kind of like Cowboys and Aliens.
So there you go. He's actually done quite a bit. Both Star Trek movies.
Which, was he a producer or director on the Star Wars movies?
I
feel like him and J.J. Abrams are linked.
Oh, buddy, old pals.
Yeah, I think so.
He's probably a producer.
I think so. I think he has a lot of producing credits. I think is what he has. So take it for what it is. Someone posted on the Reddit that there is an Electric Avenue in Sparks, Nevada. And if you know the song Electric Avenue is a British street where I believe it is where a lot of migrants and immigrants, I forget from what country, were kind of sequestered in, and the song Electric Avenue is in response to some of the poor treatment of those individuals by the Brits during the time. And it is one of those things where it's like, okay, that's cool. Well, the Sparks, Nevada, there's an Electric Avenue that once it goes under the under an overpass, it transforms into Britain Drive, which feels like that's intentional. Like, why would they do that? That's so intentional. And then there's also a Burger King at the intersection. And if you look at the map of the Reno area, there is a number of things that could be behind the storyline. Plenty of hot springs in Pyramid Lake, which got its name from black rock formation in the shape of a pyramid. Photos of in the imager above. Let's see. It's Electric Avenue. Yeah, I guess that is. Okay. To which someone then replied, but yeah, that it's weird that there is, like this in Nevada. You think of what? Eventually, your mind, anytime you hear Nevada, you think Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And you think magicians, right? You think a showman's magician, gambling. That's all got to be related somehow, Al.
Oh, man.
And what is Sandy Springs or Silver Springs or whatever the hell?
We still hadn't got that far yet, so.
This person had some ideas for callbacks we might see. The Strawberry Jam. You know what? Speaking of callbacks, there's someone that we haven't seen that people on the Reddit have been speculating has a bigger tie into all of this than maybe what we're led to believe. And that's Mother Superior, who wanted to say something to Lizzie the night of her birthday when they were drinking out in the stable, and then hesitated. But on her mug, it said, like, world's best mother or something like that.
Yeah.
And she responded to that lady that came in by helicopter with the pyramid branding, so she had an expiration date. and then she left, and then when she came back, she didn't seem upset by the fact that their livelihood, the strawberry jams, were destroyed. She instead told them that they had been bought out and that she was giving their money away. So there are some people that think maybe the Mother Superior will end up being Mrs. Davis. I still think it's the father. But there are some people that think Mother Superior may have also been in a relationship with Jesus Christ Superstar up there in his falafel diner. I don't know what to make of things, Al. Let's see.
So this Reddit says that 1042 Sandy Springs, that phrase is the direct result of the logarithm. Here in the word mother, it's been noted that Sandy Springs, Georgia has 2 office towers called the King and Queen. There are references to both kings and queens in the show. We don't know yet if this connection is being made here or to Sandy Springs. The Grail at the Loch in Scotland is removed from a fake pregnant belly, and sand flows out, which is another possible connection. 42 is the answer to everything according to the supercomputer and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Wiley is contestant number 10 in Excalibur. J is the 10th letter in the alphabet and could refer to Jesus. And then it just goes on about the different episodes and stuff. So, I mean, there is a lot of references to kings and queens in the show. There's, I mean, 10 is a big number. So there's... that has to do with something, and we just don't know yet. Good God, there's so much going on with this show.
Here's how bad it gets, Al. Here's how much you can nitpick it. So Sparks, Nevada has Electric Avenue, right?
Correct.
That's intentional, Al. It's intentional that it has an Electric Avenue. Do you want to know why? Here's why, Al. Tesla, Elon Musk company, put a Gigafactory 1, or their Gigafactory 1 resides on that street formerly known as Port Fonoyo, and was renamed Electric Avenue upon their request. It's about 4 miles from Reno to Sparks. Lizzie, so this is a person that believes Lizzie's in a coma or in some kind of intensive care. Lizzie's probably in a hospital in Sparks, the same one where she had the liver transplant. Because then she refers back to the interaction she had with the teacher. Did you find the school okay? Yeah, I used to go here. How about that? It picked this place because it knows I went here. They also think Electric Avenue has to do with brain activity. To which then someone responded that the Gigafactory in Nevada is a lithium-ion battery and electric vehicle component in a factory in Story County, Nevada, U.S. So Story County equals this is a story. Like, that has to be intentional, right? And there's a bunch of allusions to stories. She reached for the wrong book. Wizard of Oz is something that's been alluded to. We have literally Moby Dick and the telling of Jonah and the whale happen in one episode. There's so much there. So much. Let's see. The facility located east of Reno is owned and operated by Tesla. This supplies the battery packs for companies' electric vehicles. The facility is located in Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, which is called the Trick, T-R-I-C, to which they point out, T-R-I-C, trick, this is all a trick. The factory started limited production of Tesla Powerwall home energy storage device in the first quarter of 2016. 2016 equals the date of the Jezebel incident. Continue with me, Al. Sparks, a girl with flaming red hair, Templar Knights burning, rockets being fired, sparks appearing. ETA, Story County was created in 1861 and named for Captain Edward Ferris Story, who was killed in 1860 in the, would you like to know what, Al? 1860 in the Pyramid Lake War. Pyramid Lake is the facility that they go that Wiley's off to go to, man. Pyramid county seat, Virgin City. A significant portion of Julie Smith's 1987 novel Huckleberry Finn, which is another one, or Huckleberry Fiend, concerning the discovery of a lost section of the manuscript of Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, takes place in Virginia City. The actual missing holograph was located only 4 years after publication. So, like, there's all this stuff, like, we're reading too much into it. I know we are. This is a magic trick. It's gonna be dumb. I'm ready. It's not going to be nearly as rewarding as any of this crap. No matter that it's probably intentional. Apparently some of the creatives from the show have come out already and said that it was intentional, that the hippocampus that the Resistance boys were located at is very much that, a nod to your hippocampus, the function in your brain that has to do with memories and retaining memories, which again is another thing of like, maybe someone is in a fucking coma. Like, I just, oh! I want to know more about the wings. I want to know more about everything. But at the same time, what if everyone is an act except for Wiley and Lizzie, and this was all just some kind of plot to get them back together? But like, to what purpose? What purpose is any in all of this? Why is Jesus may or maybe not involved? Why is it the Holy Grail? Like, it does feel like we're just sitting here trying to speculate, but at the same time, this feels like just an AI wrote the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be impressed, discouraged, happy, or sad. I just don't know how. So someone has asked this pondering question. So we are both aware of this. Mrs. Davis isn't necessarily a liar, but Mrs. Davis has stated that that will give people what they want to hear, or give them news in a way that they will be happier with it, because it understands that it makes them more prone to do what it's asking. Yeah. But so we have that. So that makes a lot of things that have also been stated easy to discredit. But Mrs. Davis, through 2 proxies, or at least 3 proxies, has told Lizzie, in the beginning, that she was the only one that, believe it or not, Simone, you are quite literally the only person on the planet who can accomplish what I'm about to ask you before asking her to destroy the Holy Grail. And I think it's easy for you to just look at that and say, well, it's because she has the Holy Grail liver, right?
Yeah.
But that can't be it, because Wiley also has the Holy Grail liver. So then what makes her different? To which they theorize that it's the fact that she, has this interaction with Jesus. But she's not the only person that has an interaction with Jesus. So is she quite literally the only person because she has a holy liver and holy sex with the J-Man? Or is there something else?
I don't know. We'll have to wait. We're gonna have to wait and see till on Thursday, man. I don't even know what to think right now. There's so much happening.
Yeah, and I feel like we can't discredit what we were told almost from the beginning. Don't trust Mrs. Davis.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to believe like there's subtext to everything, then the very first subtext that we're given is very direct. Lizzie is hunting down charlatan rogue magicians. That has to be important for a reason other than just her family. Like, it has to be more important than just that. There's a lot of things also about how this relates to mothers and mother-daughter relationships, because that's the primary focus of everything, that the male lead has been diminished to a love interest, to which Wiley very much argues against. I'm not the damn love interest. He wants to be main character. He wants to have that main character energy. But we know he's not. But like, there's so many mother-daughter moments within this that you can't also dismiss that.
That's fair. I mean, it has literally just been about her and her mom. So, and there's been multiple connections to, the mother from the nunnery. I mean, potentially Mother Mary. So, I mean, it does play a big part into it. So, I mean, we'll see. I just don't know. I mean, you could dig yourself into a hole very quickly try to figure this out very like over and over again.
Smash the dinghy.
Yeah, and Madonna, which is what apparently the Spaniards refer to their Mrs. Davis, is a name that is just another name for the Virgin Mary. So it's like, oh man, there's so much going on that I feel like the religious side is too upfront. The religious side is too much in our face for the religious side to be correct. I think that is the whole nothing behind the cape or nothing up my sleeve of it all. I think I don't want to fixate too much on the religious aspect of it all because I think that's just there to distract us. So what the hell else is there?